I'm continuing my MASH retro reviews with Season 2, Episode 7, L.I.P, or Local Indigenous Personnel. So like I said, this is the 7th episode of the 2nd season of MASH, and what's the premise of it? Well, Hawkeye is, one, trying to get on a date with a nurse, trying to get to home base, and also helping a corporal, Bellinger, I think it was, basically, who had met a local Korean lady named Kim. They fell in love, had an unofficial marriage ceremony, and had a baby. Trying to help them get married officially, so that way when the corporal ships home, his entire family can go with him back to the United States. Those are the two plots going on. There's also a kind of a third plot intent for humor regarding that the movie that they'll keep on expecting does not arrive, so they have to make do with what they actually have. So, it's actually a really good episode. I could easily see this being done much more seriously in later seasons of MASH, but still, the topic is serious because there is a lot of opposition to the corporal and Kim, which is the name of the lady, which by the way is kind of confusing because the last episode was about a different Korean named Kim who happened to be a young boy, while this one involves a Korean lady named Kim. Kind of complicated. Why did they do that? So like I said, that part, the main story, is treated very seriously. Hawkeye's doing his best he can to get the paperwork expedited, but paperwork is going on. So a person from CID, which is basically the armies in the 1950s. I think it might still be called CID, but basically their internal intelligence agency and all that. Basically, there's a lot of stuff about the hoarders, and of course, Frank objects, so does Margaret. It makes sense that, especially with this time of frame for writing, that both of those characters would object, though I will say they once again played the line where they go in to complain, Henry doesn't want to see them, which is common, but well, Margaret does all the talking and Frank doesn't say anything. The first time that happened was a couple episodes back, which I think was done better because of Henry's lines and regarding the basically if Frank don't say something, people perform an autopsy. That was a good funny joke to end that segment, that bit. But here I don't like the ending as much, because it's basically the ending where Frank mentions his wife and then Margaret fake cries and runs away. I can kind of tell when Loretta Swit was directed as Margaret to fake cries, I was like, she's clearly fake crying. She has much more better crying scenes elsewhere in the show. I suspect that was one of her favorite scenes to perform. I could be totally wrong about that, but whenever Frank mentions his wife, and Margaret overhears, she cries and all that and runs away, but it never feels like she's genuinely upset, more like she's overacting that she's upset. Again, that could be partially done for humor, or perhaps the writer Swift did not care for those jokes and therefore did not put in as much effort. Like there's other scenes, especially later on, where she's directed to cry for a scene and it's so much more realistic, you feel for her. Here, you don't feel for Margaret. She's being, which we kind of should, because she's being strung along by Frank all this time. But again, that's another matter, and there's going to be other episodes where we'll be talking about Frank and Margaret's relation in more detail, where it's going to make more sense with the story going on. But I did want to mention it because of how they used that bit to end another bit, and how using that bit to end the first bit did not work out in the humor of the show. But anyhow, eventually the CID man comes, and basically Hawkeye, during his interview with the man, gets the man drunk, and Hawkeye can pick up pretty easily that the guy was not interested in improving at all, i.e. because of racism. And of course, so him and Chapo make some blackmail, and it does work, so the CID man does pick up on it. If it was Colonel Flag, then not going anywhere, but it wasn't Flag. Who knows if Flag is actually CID, CIA, or something else. That's another joke that we're going to be talking about later. But anyhow, so they frame him, and the man agrees to sign, and then Hawkeye finally gets on his date with the nurse he's been having a few small dates with, but not getting to home base. Anyhow, as soon as Hawkeye explains what's going on, the nurse is basically like, you basically, stirred her, claimed that Hawkeye stirred her up in order to help one of the soldiers marry a quote gook unquote. I put that in quotes for a reason. That is basically a slur. It's not basically, it is a slur. And when Hawkeye hears that, he calls the date off. He leaves her, and his last scene with her, he sticks his tongue out at her. And that's showing Hawkeye's character, showing that he actually cares about Kim and the corporal and that he's not a racist. She's a racist and he can't stand that, so he breaks up with her. They've only gone on 3 dates, but he still breaks up with her and doesn't want to see her anymore, doesn't want to get to home base with her. So, while Hawkeye is, especially in these early seasons, portrayed as a very promiscuous character, very willing to go to bed with any nurse, he does have a line where he's not going to cross it. One of them being, he's not going to get with somebody he knows to be a racist. So, that's one of the very serious things, and that's almost the end of the episode, after everything else is get done. But the last scene of the episode ends on the wholesome note. Forget about the nurse being racist. Forget about Frank and Margaret opposing it, likely for racist reasons. Forget about the CID man who he needed to blackmail to do the right thing. It ends with Father McKay performing the official ceremony to officially marry the couple and Kim, so that way they can be officially married, and she and the child can go to the States with him when he is sent back home. That's how the episode ends, which is a good ending. That's nice, positive, happy note, showing that even when you have the opposition from people who oppose it, whether for bureaucratic reasons or racist reasons or who knows what other reasons, there's a bunch of other reasons we can throw out there, that in the end, when people who care about doing the right thing stand up for the right thing can be done. But that is where I'm going to end my review. I hope to hear your thoughts on this episode in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.